கிளாஸ் சொல்லிட்டு
என்டையர் ஸ்க்ரீன் கொடுக்க சொல்லு. என்டையர் ஸ்க்ரீன். சார் 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 லைனில் தான் சார் இருக்கேன், லைனில் தான் சார் இருக்கேன். சார் மேம் இப்போது உங்களுக்கு ஸ்க்ரீன் விசிபிளாக இருக்குல்ல மேம்? இப்போ நான் இந்த ப்ரெசன்ட் நவ் அப்படின்ற ஒரு ஏரோ மார்க் இருக்குல்ல மேம், அதை கிளிக் பண்ணிங்கன்னா இந்த யுவர் என்டையர் ஸ்க்ரீன் இருக்க பாருங்கள் மேம், அது கொடுங்க மேம். இல்லை மேம், அப்படியே ஜஸ்ட் நீங்கள் உங்கள் ஸ்க்ரீனை ஷேர் பண்ணிட்டீங்கன்னா யுவர் என்டையர் ஸ்க்ரீன் கொடுத்துட்டு ஜஸ்ட் நீங்கள் உங்களோட இது கொடுத்தீங்கனாலே ஷேர் ஆகும் மேம். இப்போ இது வருது மேம். ஓகே மேம், ப்ரெசென்ட் ஆகுது மேம், ப்ரெசென்ட் ஆகுது மேம். ஓகே மேம், உங்கள் பிபிடி வியூ பிபிடி வியூ ஆகுது மேம், வியூ ஆகுது மேம். ஓகே மேம்.
comfortable at volatile things and get ready to embrace the change. This is a thought by a Stoic philosopher. The truth about the unpredictable flow of life was stated earlier by our ancestors, and the recent pandemic bursted out as a concrete evidence of the life's unpredictable flow. Even though a microscopic speck could take down our lives radically, but however or whatever the threats we humans have faced, we always have overcome it all with our sheer grit, the love we had for progression of humanity, that last but not the least by the beautiful practice of humanity's time. And also now, just facing this new threat with all the spirit and blessings of Almighty forces, we are gathered here with this positive vibrations of our battle against viruses. Now, I call upon our beloved principal and the custodian, Dr. K. Ananda sir, to deliver a welcome address and welcome the gathering. Sir, unmute yourself, sir. Yes, sir.
Very happy morning to all. I'm very happy to welcome you all from this national level webinar on recent emergence of novel viruses, which is organized by our PGM Department of Microbiology, along with SPSC. First of all, I am very glad to invite our secretary and correspondent, Mr. T.S. Sir, who is going to give the illustration address. I'm also very much happy to welcome our national treasurer, Mr. N. Srinivasan sir, who is also going to deliver the presentation.
And now I call upon Mr. S. Uma Maheshwari ma'am, Professor of Microbiology, to deliver the introduction about the
It gives me immense pleasure to introduce our resource person, Dr. Shilpa Ma'am, Technical Director, Business Biolabs Private Limited, Salem. She was completed her UG degree in 1995 to 1998 and got first class in the University of Madras. She also completed her PG degree in the year 1998 to 2000 and got first class at Periyar University. Finally, she was completed her PhD in applied microbiology and biochemistry in the Department of Biochemistry at University of Madras, Chennai. She served as a senior lecturer in the Department of Biotechnology, Satya Baba University, Chennai. She also served as a postdoctoral fellow in the Faculty of Medicine, Orthopedic Surgery, University of Malaya, Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. Now she serves as the Technical Director at Business Biolabs Private Limited, Salem. She received various awards and honors like NIDHI for COVID 2.0 Grant 2021 for developing saliva collection kit for COVID-19. She also completed various fellowships and scholarships in the year 2010 to 11. She served as a patent in bioactive nanofiber for bone regeneration in collaboration with PIT University. She published so many peer-reviewed journals and also a reviewer of many journals like Pharmaceutical Biology, Oral Disease, Cancer Therapy, etc. She was submitted various sequences to NCBI like Industrial, Streptomyces, Staphylococcus, Color, Pseudomonas, Pudita. She was presented many scientific abstracts in Orthoplasty Association meeting in the year May 2011 at Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. Thank you once again, ma'am, for giving me such a wonderful opportunity. Thank you, ma'am. Now we have Dr. C.M. Shilpa ma'am, Technical Director. In this occasion, to educate us about the recent emergence of novel viruses which have created a chief in our recent life. Please welcome ma'am.
Yeah, thank you very much for giving me such a good introduction.
my sound together, sorry.
And I would like to
Under.
thank the management for giving me an opportunity to deliver the webinar. And I also like to thank Dr. Raghunathan sir who has given me the opportunity to present the evidence of coronavirus. And a very good morning to all the students who are here to have this webinar. And regarding
ஹலோ சார். வந்திருக்காங்க மேம், உங்களுக்கு தான். இது அக்கௌண்ட் நம்பர் தானே நம்பர் இருக்கு. அந்த வரும்போது
நல்ல பாம்பா என்ன பாம்பு வெள்ளிக்கிழமை இன்னைக்கு. ஹலோ சார், குட் மார்னிங் சார். சார் ஒரு விருந்தாளி வந்திருக்காங்க எங்கள் லேபுக்கு. பாம்பு. ஆமாம், உங்கள் பாருங்க ஏசி ஏசிக்குள்ள நாங்கள் ஏசி பாக்ஸ் அவங்க போயிருந்துச்சு. வீடு இருக்க வரேன் சார். சார் சார்
கேக்குதா பாரு. இங்கே பேசுறது கேக்குதா?
That is present in DNA dependent polymerase. So DNA dependent polymerase, it has 3 exonuclease enzyme. What does it do? It do the proofreading. That is whether the mutation is there, like has occurred or not. It is the activity of that 3 exonuclease that is present in, but DNA dependent polymerase they don't have. So DNA dependent polymerase has 3 exonuclease enzyme. What does it do? Do the mutation, the mutation is 10,000 replications. Then it has occurred or not. It is the activity of that 3 exonuclease which is present in DNA dependent polymerase. They don't. So DNA dependent polymerase has 3 exonuclease maybe. What does it? But in the case of RNA, 1 in 10,000 it causes the mutation. So like this is one of the reason why RNA creates so much of RNA creates the mutation. So in coronavirus you can see why we can't able to handle it, because the mutation started to occur very frequently, even from one person to another person. There was a change in the sequence of the virus. So that has been analyzed and all over the world, like everyone has given the same view. So coming to the next, what is gene reassortment of RNA virus in cross-species influenza outbreak? So in 1980, we have seen this pandemic Spanish flu that has killed millions of people originated from reassortment of cross-virus genetic segment. What is this? Cross-species virus. So, for example, now we have seen SARS-CoV-2 coming to the human. So, what was its base? So, where it started? So, first it started from bat. From where does it go? It went to pangolin. From pangolin and in the cat, it came to. So this was it. This was its evolution. So if you see how this emergence occurred. So can you able to understand? So you had a Spanish flu that kills millions of people, but initially it was a flu virus. Okay. So from the flu virus, what they have done is from that they have gone to a reservoir. From the reservoir, it came to the human. How does it happen? So what happened is this flu virus, when they try to infect the system, you can see they bind to the sugar residues on the respiratory tract as well as the gastrointestinal tract. So what happens here? So for example, the avian flu, they have the capability of binding to 2-3 characters. Okay. And the same thing, human flu virus also recognizes not 2-3, they can able to recognize 2-6 as a receptor. But what they did is they shifted from one, previously it was hemagglutinin. You could have seen influenza virus, initially it was detected by hemagglutinin assay. I think you could have learned in your immunology where hemagglutinin assay is a specific assay for flu virus. But what happened is even the receptors started to change just because of this genetic reassortment. So what they do, even the binding, cell surface binding, the host ranges, all together they have created the person, that is the immune system, to get invaded by the virus. So we have seen about first thing is mutation, second genetic reassortment. So what has happened, how it has crossed from one vector, one host to another host. Next, coming to nucleotide deletion. So you could have learned even about the mutation. In mutation, deletion. For example, you can see the adenine and guanine sequence are deleted. Once it is deleted, then it is a mutation. So this is a type of mutation. Deletion is a type of mutation. And recombination, you can see the crossing over occur, where the information is taken from one system to the another system. So for example, in the case of COVID virus, there is a mutation in 3' exonuclease which uses recombination and deletion as its mode, and they try to adapt into the human being. So how does it occur? So corona, though it is not basically from human, it is from the pangolin and bats, but later on it came to the human. So how does it occur? So there was a mutation in 3' exonuclease enzyme. Next, coming to SARS-CoV-1, likely originated from civet cats and raccoon dogs with the precursors of SARS-like virus potentially circulating in live animal markets. So that's why regarding the China, they have told it has emerged from the live animal market. Because why they have told like that? Because SARS-CoV-1, it was basically from the dogs and cats, and these all live animals are eaten up by the Chinese people. So that was the emergence of SARS-CoV-1, where you can see from cats and dog it went to the human. Then later it is transmitted and adapted in human by certain nucleotide sequence deletion. So some sequence deletion made it to adapt to the human. So initially it is not a human virus. So it was from cats and dogs, but later on, because of deletion or because of recombination, it made the virus to get adapted to the human. So what is the next? The SARS-CoV is also believed to have jumped from bats to pangolin and human via recombination of genome in cell binding region of spike glycoprotein. So now here comes, you would have heard a lot about the spike glycoproteins that is present in the COVID. So now in the case of SARS-CoV-2, where does the mutation occurs? Mutation occurs, this recombination or deletion occurred in the spike glycoprotein. So initially, why the mutation occurred? Mutation in exonuclease. Why the infection is so much, why it has created the pandemic? Because there was a mutation in the spike glycoprotein which added the spread of this virus. Next. So now we have basically, as a microbiology student, now you know like why it occurs, how the mutation occurs, what is the mutation, and how the mutation is adopted. So like now you know how it emerged. That is what our webinar it is going to project. So now comes, so all the molecular concept has been discussed. Now we go to our general concept, like changes of ecosystem. So not only this mutation, but temperature and humidity also known to affect the human to human transmission of emerging infection. So what happened? So like because of this, like temperature and humidity, this aerosol, droplets, vectors are affected. Okay. So what? Because of this, because of extreme climate changes, and people started to move from one place to another. And in the case of animals, if you see, from the forest, like to cities, it is called as urbanization. So like when forest is like all the deforestation occurs, so what happens? The animals start to move from forest to cities. So in this condition, we can see urbanization occurs where the diseases transfer to the cities. So now coming, this is because of moving of animal and exploitation of forest. Hello? Hello? Hello?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Okay. So I'll continue again. So now we were talking about the ecosystem. So what happens? For example, in winter you will have an infection. In summer you will have an infection. Okay. So in winter, what happens? Like you have low temperature, you have the humidity. So droplet and aerosol transmission occurs very easily, and this occurs in influenza virus. This we have seen in influenza virus. Same thing, enterovirus. That is like similar to that of like polio, Coxsackie, and other virus. You can see it has the humidity. Because of humidity and oral fecal route transmission occurs, and this is very common in the summer season. Okay. So next, coming to SARS-CoV-2, you have seen it has spread over 180 countries in 2 hemispheres at the same time. Okay. So how does it occur? Because these virus are insensitive to warm climate or its humidity. So they can even survive for a very long time on the surfaces of like whatever may be the surface, whether it is a metal surface or like non-living surfaces. Even the non-living surfaces can able to support this virus because they can able to survive on the surface at least for 48 to 72 hours. This happened in the case of SARS-CoV-2. Next, coming to the climatic change and global transportation. So how? So for example, you have warming temperature, humidity is there, infection is there, like mosquitoes or breeded well, even during rainy season, you can see dengue. Now, why? What happened? The COVID third wave is not very evident now, because if you see now, dengue as well as chikungunya started to emerge. Okay, that is one of the hypotheses that scientists are discussing, because of these two, this COVID, uh, they couldn't able to. They, hello, hello. Okay, so
Yes, ma'am.
yeah, it's some disturbance was there. Okay, so now you have dengue fever and chikungunya is emerging now. So because of that, this COVID third wave is not so effective. Even it didn't start. It stopped with the second wave. So we can't tell whether it will come or not. But the thing, this is one of the reason why it didn't enter. Okay. Next, coming to the emerging RNA virus, primarily is transmitted by the mosquitoes. So what happened is, in the case of yellow fever, it first started with the mosquito that was there in Africa. From there, got it this disease, that is urban yellow fever, dengue, Zika, all this or from the Africa, it has been traded to the New World. So that is to the other part of the world. So how does it occur? So if you see in the case of yellow fever, epidemic endemic was there and epidemic was also there, and what happened is, it was there in the forest. This yellow fever was there in the forest, and because of this mosquitoes, it has been transmitted to the other birds. So once birds are infected, from there it transmitted to human. So this is how this yellow fever started, because previously the yellow fever was only in the forest, but later it started to move to the even to the cities, that is urban areas, it started to start. Next, coming to the other example, like West Nile virus, same thing happened. What happened is, first it caused infection in the bird. From the bird, it went to mosquito. From mosquito, it came to the human. So humans are the dead end host. So how this, in this way, you can see, because of climate, because of urbanization, because of ecosystem, the virus started to transfer from one host to the another host, and finally it ended up with the humans. So now comes the herd immunity. So herd immunity, like you would have seen, before vaccination and after vaccination, it was the hot topic that is discussed by all the medias, scientists, everyone. So this herd, what is the herd immunity? So you need to determine when there is an endemic or epidemic. It is very important to create the herd immunity. Without that, the infection may not stop. So you need a herd immunity. So what happened? So for example, in the case of flu, that is mutant influenza virus, only 10% people may be resistant for that influenza virus. What happens to the other people? So they need either they need a herd immunity or vaccination. So this is what, especially in the case of US, if you see, during the winter they try to give the flu shots, because during that time they are supposed to give the mass vaccination to prevent that, because that is very common in the western countries. Now coming to the other thing, so novel cross species flu virus. So COVID is novel cross species flu virus. It has created the pandemic, and if you see, in the initial years, that is For example, in our first wave, 30 to 50% of the people are infected. Okay. So whereas the next stage, if you see, when it is going for second wave, it will be 30 to 60%. So what happens here is, to create this pandemic, it requires at least 36 years. Okay. So depending upon the evolution, depending upon the adaptation of this cross-species flu virus having different hosts, and finally the human. Next is the hypothesis, viral virulence and human immunity. So the infectious virus and immunity should be balanced. If it is broken, the virus will wait till that point and then they will attack the population. So when the kinetic balance between virus virulence and the human immunity is broken, then it is very difficult, very easy for a virus to infect a population. Okay, so for this virus, what they have done is they have created a simulation model. So you would have learned in statistics this RO value. There are so many values are there. I don't want to go in depth with that, but you just know about this RO value. It was around 1.8 in the first wave, where it created 10 to 30% of the infection. Whereas in the case of second and third wave, until the herd immunity, it will cover 60% of the population. So what happens here is the dominant virus is transmitted to the population, and like even the kids who become infected with the pandemic strain over several, even even after this infection, if you see, the kids will be infected. Even the next frequent years, sure, they will be exposed to this virus. And during winter, like sure, we may have this COVID infection. Sure, it will be there. So slowly, what does it do is, it makes the population to get the herd immunity. So not now, like you are having it now. It is going to be first wave and second wave, third wave, or whatever it may be. But later on, what happens is, like if after one particular season you have the infection, then like that particular population will be immune. It's not the herd immunity will be formed. So based on this, like they have created the simulation model where you can see human to human transmission should be approximately 1.3 to 1.8. But in our COVID viral infection, what has created a pandemic now, it is 2.3. Okay, so see the value, the range should be 1.3 to 1.8, but now we are exposed to 2.3. There is more than 60% of the population it is affected. So whether the novel SARS-CoV pandemic might also cause periodic waves of epidemic, again this is a question. It may have the periodic exposure of this virus. Only then the whole the herd immunity will be developed, or else it's even each before that, like everything is called as a wave. Okay, but after that it is like it's not like a wave, it is like a seasonal disease. Like you can call it as a seasonal disease. So what happens, like for example, culture, occupation and social events. So even this has created a big problem. For example, why the lockdown has been created? Because the people like started to gather for all functions and the disease started to spread. So this also creates the problem. And because of occupation, the like movement of people from one part of world to the other part of world also started to spread this disease from one part of the world to the other part of the world. So these all happens. Again, the same thing happened even with Ebola, Zika, everything. Because like in last few years, it was not a pandemic or it was not an epidemic or endemic. But the Ebola and Zika, if you see, like even it is transferred to the Western countries. Like how? From Africa, how does it transfer to the Western country? It is just because of all these occupations, social events that is occurring, and which made them to transfer from one part of the world to the other part. So this is the just I have shown in this tableau column where you can see what are the different mechanisms. Like each and everyone will affect some of the immune system. For example, SARS-CoV-2, it is completely inflammation. Okay. In the case of dengue, you can see antibody is there. How you detect? The antibody is there. In the case of swine flu, if you see, the whole immune system will suppress. That is, like the body won't have the immune response to get rid of that virus. And major, that's what, like how the immune system reacts to this viral infection, and based on that they try to evade the host. So coming to the strategies, what are all the strategies that are followed to create the infection? So first thing, like we can prevent this viral infection by reducing the viral spread and fatality. Next, rapid diagnosis, very important. Targeting cytokine storm by immunotherapy. So for example, now we are going along with the vaccines, but is even the cytokine storm, that is the monoclonal antibody, they started to develop against these cytokines, and many of the countries are working on that. But most of the research that is regarding only, I think Roche has released the product, whereas the others they didn't it is in trial and many of them were in failure. But if that is going to come out, and it will be a very good therapeutic for, especially for COVID-19. And prevention of there is morbidity, like movement of from getting transmitted is also another one of the strategy to prevent the fatality. So how the infection can be controlled? So infection can be controlled by mutant. That is, you would have seen about epidemiology. So surveillance monitoring has to be done in human regarding virus, regarding the vectors, host, everything should be monitored. That should be the first program. And second should be vaccine development. And third is block it off viral transmission. That is like even the peoples are supposed to that is how, like what we are doing, wearing the mask, using the sanitizers. So that is the blockade of viral transmission. Next is inhibition of viral replication. So what, like you should take something like the vitamins so that like they should be able to create a immune booster in your system to fight against the virus. Next, inhibition of viral shedding. Even viral shedding is coming out of the body, so like it is also transmitted through sewage. Even those screening should also be done. Next, how we are going to see the immune controls. So first thing, host genetic susceptibility, that is the first thing. Next, herd immunity has to be developed. Next, diagnosis, rapid diagnosis and viral spread has to be done immediately, because if it is going to be very late, it is going to be very dangerous. Next is again coming to the immune therapy. There is cytokines. Cytokines, whatever it is released because of inflammation, need to be controlled. Once it is controlled, even the lung inflammations and lung you have seen in COVID, like there are lung failure was also there. So that can also be prevented. Next is targeting the signaling pathway. So it is also the drugs that are developed against several signaling pathway that are related to cause this infection. Next, coming to the host system. So like even the host system, host immune system is very important. There should be a balance between the host immune system and the virus that is present in the environment. So this has to be balanced. So how will you balance this? So as a conclusion, so like we have seen what are all the reasons of emerging diseases, viral infection, how does it occur, and what are the mechanisms related to this, and how you can prevent. So like what happens here is like it is very important you should take vitamins. That is very important. So what happens like you should be your immune system should be very strong. You need to take frequent like vitamins should be taken inside like there is you can whenever you go for like vegetarian things like you should go for all the vegetables green leaves everything like so like you should make immune system very strong even our system of food at least like though India is a highly populated country and the COVID has to comparing to other places which initially many politicians have discussed there is like even in the case of US, like you could have seen, Trump has told like how India is going to face the problem, COVID problem, because it is highly populated countries and how we are going to control it. But just because, maybe because though we are not good in how to tell quality measures, we are not controlling, but still how the infection is controlled is just because of the food what we are taking and the herbal preparations whatever they have given Kabasura Kudini, those all things it has created some barrier between the virus and our immune system. So it is very important like whatever food you take at least from maybe just your college going people and you may not be sometimes like many of them they don't try to take the vegetables or fruits or like you should be very conscious because this is the time which has created you to have good food habits and even your way of like because in previous days none of them would have washed hands like after coming from outside but now like we have started doing all these things even our habitat our culture everything started to change so like along with this we have to move on to bring an good environment around you so that like your practices, whatever practices you follow, your immune system, everything has to be increased so that we can able to prevent the mortality rate. So even the food, like what you are going to take, the vitamins, like what you are going to take, also plays an important role. And even during the initial stage of COVID, you can see even the zinc is also given along with all the drugs that are given. Why? Why the zinc is given? Why the mineral is given? So it supports, it helps the drug to enter into the system. That we should take it beforehand so that like we should not get in like we should not get infected. So your immune system should be strong. Okay. I think like I have covered the major area and like these whatever information I have given you should not be bored because like whatever I have given like what I feel is like I have given something new regarding this COVID-19 that you would not like it is not the normal details or normal strategies that has been revealed anywhere. So this I would like to make it as an important thing so that like you can fight against the COVID-19 and keep it in mind. Like you say, you have to follow your social distancing, mask and sanitation, which is going to be your culture in the future. Okay, so this makes us to prevent almost all the viral infection that is going to enter into the system. Thank you.
Thank you very much, ma'am.
So like I think like if anyone have question like I think they can ask.
Any doubt, ma'am?
Why no one is coming forward? I think like online classes like has made you so silent, no? Everyone. Does anyone like I think like whether they got bored with this webinar?
Sir, thank you very much, ma'am.
Thank
It's
you.
a pleasure to hear such a huge and wonderful information about the recent emergence of novel viruses during this pandemic situation. Once again, heartfelt thank you very much, ma'am.
Thank you.
Now, I call upon Dr. K. Sathisiran sir, Assistant Professor of Microbiology, to deliver a vote of thanks to the gathering.
Very good morning to one and all. It's give me immense pleasure to deliver vote of thanks on behalf of PG and Research Department of Microbiology. I express my heartfelt thanks to our college secretary and correspondent sir, treasurer sir, and the academic dean sir for their
Ma'am, Uma ma'am.
wonderful wishes.
Hello.
Hello sir.
Uma ma'am.
Hello sir. Hello. Hello sir. Next, I am also extend my sincere thanks to beloved principal sir for guiding us to conduct webinar. I would like to thank our resource person, Dr. P.N. Sipa ma'am, Technical Director, Vetis Biolab, Salem, for valuable presentation about emergence of novel viruses. And I am so express my sincere thanks to heads of the departments, faculty members, research scholars, and students from various universities, colleges for your active participation in this national level webinar. Next, I would like to extend my heartfelt thanks to my colleagues for your wonderful support. Thanks to one and all. Thank you. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Shilpa ma'am, thank you very much, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. Thank you
Yes,
very
ma'am.
much, sir.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you very much, ma'am. திருவண்ணாமலை கண்டிப்பா வாங்க மேம், தேவா சார் கூட.
கண்டிப்பா சார் நான் ஃபோன் பண்றேன் சார் உங்களுக்கு.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you very much for spending your valuable time with us, ma'am.
Yes.
For us.
No problem,
Yes, ma'am.
sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Thanks a lot, ma'am. Thank you very much, ma'am.
Thanks.
Dear participants, kindly fill the Google forms to receive your certificates. Thank you.